Philosophy of education is a very important one. I belong to a group, for example, that believes that parents have a very important role to play in the education of their children. You can't just associate to a school and say, okay, a child is here, which is what most of us do, sadly, today in Nigeria. Communities, parents have direct critical roles to play in the education of their offspring.
Friendship, it lasts forever. True friendship, a gift we share together. No matter where you are, we're there together. Sharing moments, happiness is when we are together.
Maltina, share happiness.
I come from a family of no nonsense. Even though I bring anybody's things, I forget it in my bag. My mommy will follow me down to school tomorrow morning and he will beat me mercilessly in front of the students. He will call me thief. That is the way I train my own too. So there is no way I can go to my son's school or my daughter's school to go and fight for what?
When a child is flogged unnecessarily, I will go there. But if it is the normal one, they have to. I did have a child that they should not flog. So it's part of training, it's part of education, it's part of learning.
Let's assume the teacher harassed my child sexually. Definitely I will be so angry. I will approach the teacher. He or she will need to explain why he or she had to harass my child sexually. But if the teacher didn't do that, maybe she was just trying to correct the child, I don't have any reason to harass the teacher or fight the teacher. Rather, I will come around and appreciate the teacher for being a good parent on location.
I will not encourage my parents to come and fight my teachers in case they correct me for a mistake I made.
Every child has to be disciplined in the world we are. Indiscipline is one of the major threats that is making most of the children engage in many bad activities that are reigning in the society right now. So I will not encourage my mom to come and fight for me in the school after I have committed an offense.
Mommy can never come to school to come and comfort my teacher. Mommy can never. She cannot do that.
One, some parents might come to confront the teachers because they might not get full details of what had happened in the school from their child, because there are some children nowadays, they won't tell you the full details. They will only tell you the parts whereby someone else is wrong. I won't tell you where they are wrong. And two, if the child is being cheated, the parents would come.
I wouldn't allow my mom to come to the school to confront the teachers because she might say more than what she's supposed to say at my little insult.
As a teacher, I'm not trained to be violent, with my parents. I'll be as civil as possible. I'm not a violent person.
If a child knows that when I get scolded in school, I'm not talking about beating or bullying. I'm talking about get scolded for not doing her homework. Maybe you ask the child to kneel down. If a child knows that my parent will not condone me saying any negative thing about the teacher. I have a son. My son, when he comes home, will say, "Mommy, my teacher scolded me today." I did. You already know I will ask him, "What did you do?" Not that I'm saying, "Why should your teacher do such?" So my son already knows that. I will tell him that an action prompted you. You did something that made your teacher to take such an action. So if the parents are well equipped, if they have the knowledge that anything happening in the school that does not have to do with bullying or caning, it's for the betterment of my child, I think it will curb a lot of things.
We have different types of abuses. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be psychological, or even social. So any form of abuse, if a parent noticed that the child has been abused, the protocol is supposed to report, to make a formal report to the head of the school. In every school you have a head. In the secondary school you have the principal as the head of the school, you have vice principal, then you have the head teacher, you have the classroom teacher. So we have even counselors in most schools. And then you have the classroom teacher in charge of every class. So if a child is abused, so the formal thing to do is to report officially to the head of the school, the principal.
Once a child reports something, again, the child must be given complete protection. Otherwise, they will not report things, And so there ought to be a dean of discipline who is respected by all sides, the parents, the teachers, school authorities generally. And that dean of discipline, when they get a report from a child or through the parent, must conduct an investigation in which, like I said, the child is protected as much as possible and justice is seen clearly to be done in terms of the outcome of the investigation. But orientation is also critical for the school authorities, the teachers, and all of that. I mean, one of the things that, culture is so powerful. If schools set out from the beginning that they want a certain culture, a culture that is clean of abuse and all of that, then they will have a program where every month, maybe even every week, nuggets of information go to all the people concerned, the teachers, about zero tolerance for this, that, consequences of that happening. Then it percolates, it becomes part of the culture, and you then don't see those abuses taking place.
Some parents do abuse teachers because they just tend to look down on teachers. That who are they? Parents want to use at times their influences, their position, just to look down on teachers. And because I've had cases and I've got some reports whereby you have parents even going to beat up a teacher physically in the school, or even at times they waited the teacher on the way and beat up the teacher. They have cases whereby they said the teacher cuts the hair of a student and the parents decided to use scissors to cut the teacher's hair. It's an abuse. Because a teacher is supposed to be respected, for being in charge of the children in the school. So I said you have protocol. I mean, a parent should not take law into his or hand, or into their own hands. They should make formal reports if their child is abused. And you have cases whereby even some students, they want to report teachers even when it is not correct. At times they are not happy with the way the teacher managed them, because some students, when they know their parents, that the parents are going to fight the teacher or make, a big show. So then they just report to their parents that this teacher is this teacher is that. And instead of parents following the normal protocol, they just take laws in their hands and fire back. as a teacher without following the normal due process?
Well, Parents Teachers Association, I think, must demand of the school system a set of values, a set of procedures for how authorities engage with children, and must seek a reporting, maybe at every PTA meeting, what cases have arisen, how were they treated, and so on and so forth. When there is a continual interest by the PTA, school authority is likely to be more sensitive and to act, in that direction.
In 2015, a beacon of hope emerged when the Maltina Teacher of the Year initiative was born. It didn't just provide recognition for our teachers, it also transformed their teaching experiences. And after nearly 10 years, impacting over 300 participating teachers and transforming hundreds of schools, 241 teachers and 9 schools have been rewarded with over 500 million naira in cash and non-cash prizes. With its impact transcending borders, award-winning Nigerian teachers are now being recognized internationally, showcasing the talent and dedication of educators from Nigeria. This initiative is a brainchild of the Nigerian Brewers Felix Ohiwere Education Trust Fund and proudly endorsed by the Federal Ministry of Education. This edition is supported by Union Bank, Woodhall Capital Foundation, Airpeace, and Alert Group. Maltina Teacher of the Year, a decade of inspiring excellence in teaching. Examination malpractice can be defined as any deliberate act of wrongdoing, contrary to the rules of examinations designed to give a candidate an undue advantage. It is also known as cheating, an illegal action that students take during their examinations to try to make good grades by cutting corners. Examination malpractice is an offense that attracts 3 to 5 years imprisonment with or without the option of fine in Nigeria. According to history, the first recorded case of examination malpractice in the country was in 1914, when the senior Cambridge local examination was leaked. Examination, according to experts in the academia, is a major evaluation process of the educational system. If the process is fraught with error, this means a lack of accountability in the educational sector. Studies have shown that for many learners, especially in the secondary and higher levels of education, the focus is no longer on acquiring knowledge but on certificates, and examination malpractice provides a means to that end. Several factors such as lack of good societal and family upbringing, materialism, certificate over-consciousness, lack of self-confidence, poor remuneration of teachers and examiners, poverty and corruption have been identified by experts as direct triggers of examination malpractices. Other practical factors that aid examination malpractices include teachers who do not teach well and/or cover their syllabus, parents who buy grades for their children, parents who bribe admission officers to secure admission letter, exam supervisors who sell questions before the date of examination, school proprietors who bribe invigilators to look the other way while they assist students so their school can look good. Clearly, there is no doubt that examination malpractices undermine the integrity of the educational system, reduces the quality of graduates produced, and erodes public trust in the system. Everyone agrees when experts say it also leads to a lack of confidence in the abilities of Nigerian graduates, thereby making them less competitive in the global job market. So, what is the way forward? How can examination malpractices be eradicated? Restoring the sanity of the examination system, many believe, depends on the collective support of all stakeholders, especially the parents, teachers, and school proprietors. Advocates recommend a sound educational policy to be put in place with de-emphasis on the supremacy of certificates over skills and professional competence, and the appointment of supervisors of proven integrity who are independent of the examination centers to avoid all forms of discrepancies.
I often refer to Nigeria as a country run by certificated illiterates. And so we need to begin to de-emphasize certificates and focus more on knowledge. A lot of the young people that we do this disservice, quote unquote, taking them to miracle centers to get the higher school cert. In the end, they come through universities, garbage in, garbage out, and they don't have capacity. If they were more foresighted, they will find that it will catch up with them somewhere down the line. So there is a need for us to begin to educate parents. If we don't have parents who understand that they don't do their children any favor by helping them pass, then they will sit them down to study. And that's what will ensure that they truly make it in life.
You can ask, why would a student engage in exam malpractice in the first place? Would I say that it's students who are not well prepared, those who are not prepared by their school, or those who are not prepared by themselves? So exam malpractice is a cankerworm. It's one of the greatest ills of our society. And it pains me that schools are now even involved. Parents are not helping matter. So I think it requires a paradigm shift, because it has eaten into the fabric of our education system. And here in the university, we see students parading A1, A1, A1. And yet we are not seeing any correlation between the school cert they are parading and their 100 level results. So something is wrong somewhere. So I think that it's something that the government should look into. What is happening in the schools? We get them finished from the secondary school. We get them from secondary schools, they get into here, they're not able to cope. So how much trust, how much confidence do we want to place in the West African Examination Council O-level results we are getting? We have done studies to see if there's any correlation between WAEC, JAMB score, and O-level results, and there's really no correlation, more of a negative correlation than a positive correlation. So we know that something is happening, but we need to pin it down, that this is what is actually happening. But here at the university, we are using technology to pin it down. Because with technology, you can wire the classrooms with CCTV. We search them before they come. We validate them before they enter the classrooms. And we use CBT exams as well. So all those things try to check examination malpractice. Otherwise, I think we need a national conference to talk about examination malpractice at all levels. And parents are stakeholders. It's not what we leave for the teachers and maybe the proprietors of school and the ministries of education. Parents should also be involved, because somehow they fund exam malpractice.
Now, because some children, for one reason or the other, know that they are not measuring up to task. Maybe they are not attending classes regularly, or they know that their performance level is below average. Then they want to cut corners, looking for a way to earn cheap grades. grades that they do not merit. That's malpractice. By any means, you have different forms of exam malpractice, right from primary school to university. If the students are cheating in primary school to get to admission to secondary school, in secondary school you continue cheating. That's why your parents help them, they assist them to get results. Nowadays, to buy results. So parents pay teachers to help them. In secondary school, in some schools, teachers who have collected money from parents, they will arrange the seats of the students in such a way that they can easily copy from one another. And some teachers will now come to the hall to help those students. Many parents, they don't have the time to stay with their children, to teach their children, to bring them up right. What do they do? They put children in charge of caregivers, house help. The house helps who don't have training themselves. So how will they help the children?
True friendship, it lasts forever. True friendship, a gift we share together. No matter where you are, we're there together. Sharing moments, happiness is when we are together.
Maltina, share happiness.
The Felix Hurey Educational Trust Fund has contributed significantly in preserving the values that make for good education in Nigeria by emphasizing the importance of teacher quality. Having had the privilege of being chair of that panel for so many years now, I look at the magic every time we pick a winner and the impact that has in the community of that person, in the life of that person, and in the value that teachers have in society. So in that sense, it's been enormously impactful. And the hope is that those winners themselves will become agents that go into society, inspiring others to see that there's something in being a teacher. One of the terrible things that's happened to our country in the collapse of culture that we experience is that they say, teacher. They've begun to demean the role of teachers, which is a shame, because if you go to most communities in Nigeria from the 50s and 60s, you have somebody to point you to the richest man in the community 5 years, who died 5 years ago. It's usually, people don't remember. But the teacher who died 30 years ago, yeah. So, immortality, as it were, comes to the person who has affected the lives of so many people from the community. And I think that part of what the Felix Hurey Trust has done is begun to reinstitute that sense of the value of the teacher.
Next time on Teaching with the Heart.
I was forced to be in the shoes of others and constantly compared. And now the struggle was deeper than anyone around me could understand, because I was struggling in the classroom, I was struggling at home. My parents tried their best. It got so funny that at the point I was told to go see a psychiatrist, I was also taken for deliverance.